welcome everybody. My name is Maralee Burnett. I am your astrologer, back with the messages for the upcoming new moon solar eclipse that happens in the sign of Aquarius. Now, this can be a pretty big, shocking, challenging, life-changing event because we're talking about fate. The eclipses occur in a close angle contact with the north and the south node. North is where we're headed in this lifetime, we have to grow into. And the south node is what we already know, and we can't stay stuck there. So it's a lot of times showing us what we have to release, what we have to let go of. And as you look at the chart, they look like horseshoes that are showing up here for you to see them as a visual representation. And sometimes we think of the nodes as giving us luck. So that symbolism actually does make sense. Now, this is going to be one of those things where I'm going to give you generalized forecasts. But if you really want to know, you definitely want to book a session with me. And whether you can get it done before the actual eclipse occurs or not is not going to be critically important, but it is something that is worth taking the time to do because of the fact that this is going to go on for really the next couple of years as we just get a preview, a glimpse of the work that's going to kick off for us this summer as these nodes change signs and officially move into Aquarius and Leo. So there is a lot coming up. And of course, I'm going to give you the breakdown of the eclipse and then give you a breakdown by sign. So now might be a really good time if you're new to my channel to click on that subscribe link, because that way you're going to get notification for all the really important energy shifts that are coming, especially over this week in particular. February is probably the most impactful month of this year. So you are not going to want to miss it. And to help you navigate it is my website, maraleeburnett.com. Out there's all of the written materials that I have created to support you and the work that you'll be doing this year with all of these changes and shifts that are coming up for us. So you can go out there and already look at, of course, my February monthly horoscope article. And within that is the links to the new moon and the full moon articles. Now it's March, also out there ready for you, that will have the full moon lunar eclipse that follows 2 weeks after this solar eclipse. So they're already both prepared and ready for you to help you do the work. Now, the people who will always feel this the most are those who have a personal planet or what we'd consider an angle, like your rising sign, the first house, your descendant, the seventh house, your MC and your 10th house and career in the fourth house, home and family. Those are angles that are really important in your chart. And of course, personal planets, your sun, your moon, the rising sign that we talked about, and then Venus and Mars and Mercury. All of those are things that show up and we notice right away in our personal life. So those of you who hopefully know your chart and know what you have at 28 degrees in your chart can be prepared for some work this year that's going to be very impactful. All right, so we're going to break this all down to try to make it into little bite-sized chunks that make sense so that you're prepared to do this work. So let's break it down, starting with what is a solar eclipse. Well, this is when, of course, we have the combination of the sun, the moon, and the earth. And at a new moon, the sun and the moon are coming together. The moon is blank, obviously, because it's with the alignment of the sun. So there is no light shining on it. Then you have the earth moving through between the two. And that is where we get the solar eclipse. Now, this is what's called an annual solar eclipse. So because of the distance, the Earth's shadow isn't big enough to cover the sun completely, so we call it a ring of fire or an annular solar eclipse because of that. So it's not a complete blackout, There's still a ring of light around the sun that we can see, but there is still something being eclipsed out in order for this new beginning to come in. So these are usually momentous occasions throughout history when we have events that impact societies as a whole and create changes that then set us off on a new journey, a new path, and head us in some new direction. So again, if you happen to be a 28-degree Aquarius, you will notice, even if it's just that you're looking back in time, that this was the year where a huge change happened in your life and started you down a new path. Now, this can just be the planting of those seeds that will develop and unfold. Some will have actual events occurring. Some may have had an event occur 6 months ago because the energy of the eclipses unfolds over time. However, I think this is more forward looking as far as timelines go because of the fact that the nodes have not actually shifted yet. So while we have the North Node still in the sign of Pisces, we have the actual eclipse happen in the sign of Aquarius. So again, that's why it's an annular eclipse. That's why we still have some visibility of the sun's rays during this time because the node isn't exactly conjunct. Now that lunar eclipse will be a different story, and we'll be talking about that in another video because that one will be total and we will be able to see it here. This one only visible in Antarctica, so the South Pole, and there's no people that it's actually covering at the time. So this will be an event that we'll have to keep an eye on as far as that region goes, because there will be shifts and changes in the South Pole as a result of this eclipse. So weather and ice formations, that there will be something that unfolds over even the next 2 years that will impact that territory because of the fact that it's the one that is covered by this eclipse energy. And then we have some other regions, countries down there that will see the partial eclipse, but we will not see it here in America, which actually is probably a good thing at this time. But any countries whose rule falls under the Aquarian energy will have some big changes. So a lot of people talk about the fact that Iran, for instance, is ruled by Pluto in Aquarius. So we will likely see big changes in the government structure and in leadership in that area because of the fact that its energy is closely aligned with the energy of this eclipse. And of course, Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius. So that's Pluto returns, and I could go on forever, but we won't get detracted by that. So in our own lives, you want to take a look. Where do you have 28 degrees of Aquarius? And where do you have this 27 degrees of Taurus? And by where, I mean the house. And the house numbers here are shown on the inner ring with a number. And that number is the house number, that area of your life that is impacted. So this person, this Capricorn rising, I use Placidus, so it's not whole sign houses. When I do your predictions, they will be from whole sign houses because it's easier to do that as far as generalized forecasts go. But this person, Capricorn rising, that happens to have what we call an intercepted second house, but it's the Aquarius energy right on the cusp, which means the little doorway between these two houses that is being activated. So this person could expect a major change in the work that they do because of the fact this is where the eclipse is happening. So they may lose a role or a position at work, Or this person may end up moving for work because of the fact that Uranus is squaring. So the ruler, Uranus of Aquarius, is squaring this new moon solar eclipse event. And Uranus is about freedom, breaking free, innovation, shocking surprises. We think about the symbolism of the lightning bolt. Lightning is striking, and as it strikes, it is going to activate a shocking new beginning for some. And those some people will likely be those that have energy right here at this 28 degrees. Now, you can be a few degrees before, a few degrees after, and still feel the impact. The farther away your planets are from this event, the softer the impact of the energy feels. But as a collective, because this is Aquarius energy, we, the people, our friend groups, our networking groups, the internet, electricity, there could be a shocking event that occurs that knocks out the power or knocks out the internet at the time of this eclipse. So we have collective events like that one that I just described, and then we have individual events that will go on. And if you're not directly impacted because you don't have planets at 20 degrees Aquarius, it's what happens within the collective that will have a direct impact on you. Or maybe it's indirect. And that impact that happens to someone at 28 degrees of Aquarius opens an opportunity up for you. So the biggest energy going on at this time is the fact that we have a new beginning that happens because of some difficulty. A square requires you to stop and change direction. And when you change direction, that's when the new opportunity will show up for you. So why did I say this person could move for work? Because the fourth house rules home and family. So something that happens in their career space, second house, money we make, is in conflict with their home and family life. So that could require a change. Now, the change could show up the other way. The conflict at home could encourage you to want to move out and pursue a new job. But there's something changing between the balance of the work you do and where you live, or your family situation, if you happen to be this person with this kind of a chart. Somebody in your company or organization could move and change that dynamic, which opens a new opportunity for you. So that's what we'll be talking about when I do the breakdown, is I'm going to look at where does the new moon happen for you, and then where's the challenge coming from in order for this new beginning. So we'll do that a little bit later. Other things, if you notice when you look at this chart, it's pretty clean. This is taking up all of our energy, all of our attention is this solar eclipse. Of course, from a Chinese New Year perspective, we are also introducing the year of the fire horse. So that again says this, I called it, I think in my video last week, this big bang event that is happening is opening doorways that once we step through, it's like stepping into the matrix, and then suddenly whoosh, we're flying ahead into this new chapter, into this new earth, this new experience. All while Saturn and Neptune are coming closer together, and they'll be in their exact conjunction as of Friday. So this is a big week, and I'm going to do a separate video for that. But if you want a little preview of that, go read my 2026 article, because in there I broke down what this means from the Saturn and Neptune shifts into Aries, where they'll now stay, versus last year where they just dipped their toe in. how it impacts each sign, what house is impacted, how there can be, again, a rebirth, kind of like a solar eclipse in this particular area of your life. But they aren't exactly conjunct, but we saw right around Valentine's Day, Saturn step into Aries. So it is now done. A chapter has concluded of work that you've done over the last 3 years from the Piscean perspective. And of course, the Neptune's work was the end of a 14-year journey. So Pisces, last sign, endings, dissolving things. And we continue to see people and actors that we're letting go of because it's an end of a chapter for them. So chances are we'll see more announcements of people that are ending their journey as this Saturn energy leaves Pisces for the last time, at least for the next 29 years, and finishes this work, or the people who are doing the work are finished with a particular chapter. So once those endings happen, then we're ready for new beginnings. So as we get ready for the new moon, we now see Saturn and Neptune in the first sign, which also is significant. The number 1 represents new beginnings. So that is active. That is why I think on top of a new moon and having this new chapter open between Saturn and Neptune says this isn't just your typical change. This is a powerful, impactful change that is just getting ready to begin. But before anything can begin, like I said, chapters have to close, storylines have to end, timelines have to dissolve, because Saturn rules time. And now time in the sign of Aries belongs to you. This is about your story. This is a chapter about you, what you want, what your needs are, what your desires are, and what are you willing to fight for? Because that's all of the energy that we've seen in past history. When Neptune moves into the sign of Aries, it's about fighting for what is morally right. And like I said, I'll do a separate video on that so they don't detract too much. But just that's the underlying energy that's here supporting this other new beginning, this shocking, surprising change in direction is supported also with the help of Neptune and Saturn, even though they aren't in direct contact with this event, but their energies combining and building in strength. Like I said, that will happen on Friday. And that's why I also said this isn't the end. This is just the beginning of the work that we have to do for the rest of this month in particular, but also for the next several years. So we talk about fate. So what are the nodes doing at the time of the eclipse? And as I mentioned in the beginning, the North Node is what we're growing into. So of course, to grow into something, we have to have lessons. We have to have life experiences. And those life experiences have been showing up for us ever since the nodes shifted into the signs of Pisces and Virgo, which happened to combine with the work that we were finishing with Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. So it's been an intense energy time with heavier than normal energy because, of course, Pisces is water. And so when you have all this heavy energy in the sign of Pisces, it's now been picking up in intensity. And when you think about what's hidden beneath the water, what's hidden beneath our emotional self, our intuitive selves, there's lots of secrets that are coming to the surface now and getting exposed. And those secrets have to do with women, because we have Venus in the sign of Pisces now, and almost exactly conjunct with the North Node, which of course means opposing the South. So again, another layer of energy. This doesn't directly affect this eclipse, but it is there and existing as another layer of storytelling that's going on in your life. It's also activating the Mercury retrograde energy at the same time. So last week, Mercury had a conversation. Wednesday, Thursday of last week, something maybe important was shared with you, even if it was offhandedly. But something was said, something was learned, maybe it's just mentioned, that will become clearer, that you have to delve deeper into whatever that topic is. So as Mercury moves ahead, it's helping us see more of the details. But Mercury in the sign of Pisces is very murky thinking, right? Mercury's an air sign. So in water, it can't breathe. It can't function properly. So we call Mercury at fall here in the sign of Pisces. So this is why early on, things were feeling like a Mercury retrograde. Because as soon as Mercury moves into the sign of Pisces, things start going a little wacky and a little haywire. So we have that going on. This is stuff, again, we have to pay attention to, because on the 26th, when Mercury goes retrograde, then we got to do some rework. And of course, part of the rework is shown to us during this eclipse. And then we get back to Venus. So Venus is now with the North Node, where Mercury started its pre-shadow. So Venus as well is a part of our Mercury retrograde work. Like I said, this is a complex eclipse. It is not straightforward. There are many layers of the work that we have to do. And it's not just, here's the eclipse and now we're moving on. This is literally step one. And then so much more is going to unfold literally over the next 2 years, because this is a very long transit once these nodes shift this summer. But Venus with the North Node, women will be a big part of the storyline. So women with this energy of Pisces, that is an important part of their chart. And then you, as the collective, right? This is a feminine energy that has to do with money, beauty, and it can do with secrets, because Pisces is things that are hidden beneath the sea. And as this planet faces off with the South Node in Virgo, there's things from the past for yourself that may be unhealthy or toxic that you need to face. And that could have to do with love or a relationship that you've been in, because of the fact that, of course, Venus rules love as well. And the South Node, as I mentioned, that's what we did in a past life. So we already know the things we need to know about good order and control and good health and alternative ways that we can heal ourselves. Now, moving away from it says we can't just stay here doing those things in this lifetime without also leaning into the watery depths of the Pisces energy. This is energy that's more free flowing. So while Virgo is grounded, earthy, and has control over its energy, the Pisces energy is free flowing. It has to do with faith and trust, spirituality, our gifts, our talents. So we will have to move away from being a perfectionist, Virgo, in order to explore our gifts. That's what we've been learning ever since we saw this transition in January of 2025, which is when these nodes first shifted. So you can look at your own life. What have you been working on? What have you been trying to overcome in this time frame? Well, there's something today with the help of Venus that adds to whatever story started last week with the help of Mercury. And of course, the nodes are fated events. So women, like I said, in the news can be fated. Your women friends, a woman you know that has something to do with this house, for instance, in this chart, would be a woman that this person works with that is going to share information with them that's a part of their fated journey. And what she shares is going to help move this person forward, but there is something difficult that they will have to let go of in order to take advantage of this opportunity. Now, from the 8th house perspective, in order to enjoy this new opportunity as this money-making event, maybe you're supposed to get a big bonus. And so you want to hang on and stay at the company before, the bonus gets paid out. But this opportunity is so good that you might be willing to walk away from it. But it would be this tension, right? So wherever we have opposition, which we always have with the North and the South Node, we have to find the sweet spot in the middle, lean on what we know, what we're good at, and use that to help us have faith and trust in ourselves, right? It's like, I've done this in the past. I know I can apply what I've learned through that process of Virgo with this Piscean opportunity, and I have to trust the process. That's the biggest thing about the North Node in Pisces is you just have to trust the process. Don't forget what you know, but trust the process that what's coming is completely different, but you can do it. You've got the skill set to succeed. So this person may be going through this, oh my God, can I do this? Can I take this leap of faith? This woman who's offered me this big opportunity, because it's going to change everything. Back to the beginning of my story that I created, it could require you to move. So it's huge changes. And of course, the 8th house is about death, rebirth, transformation. So this person has some big decisions to make. And if you have a chart that looks like this, well, maybe that person's you. So the last piece of this energy storyline, back to Mercury again, has moved forward, sitting here at 16 degrees. So still in the preview phase of showing us what we will have to start to review once this turns retrograde, is this very positive aspect, which is a trine over to Jupiter, which is now retrograde at 15 degrees and only has until March 11th to finish its storyline. So this is a big planet, and it now is beginning to slow down very slowly. And then it will get ready to make the big shift in March, which is what's going to really help us start to move things forward with that new moon, March 18th. So there's something we need to learn, because these energies are both about teaching. Jupiter is the guru on the mountainside, a spiritual leader and teacher that is helping this mentee learn something new. And together, they're combining their energy to create this big opportunity for you. But because this is pre-shadow Mercury and retrograde Jupiter, it's something that requires patience and time to make sure you understand the assignment. But it's a big blessing what is coming to you. You just have to take your time with it, which gets back to Saturn and Neptune, which is what do we have to dissolve, and then what do we have to rebuild within ourselves in order for this opportunity to fully unfold for us. So that's some pretty major energy going on at the time of this annual solar eclipse, and it can feel a bit overwhelming because we don't have stable earth energy showing up, right? The only earth energy we have that's prominent is Uranus. And so because Uranus is in Taurus, this can bring some major shakeups as far as the earth goes. So anytime Uranus is in a difficult position, especially when it's in an earth sign, we can see things like earthquakes. We can see things like volcanoes exploding. This is just a really good time to, again, take things slow, travel with a lot of caution, and just be prepared, like I said, for some wild weather events. So, for instance, there can be some wild earth event that knocks out power. So this is a really good time for you to look at your emergency kit and supplies and replenish them, because this is an unexpected disruption. It's likely to happen somewhere where people aren't used to having any issues, and it will take you completely by surprise. So, does it hurt to stock up on water or canned goods? No, they are not going to go to waste, and you can always donate them if you end up going overboard. But think about things such as, if I can't get in contact with somebody because there's no cell service for an extended period of time, what do you do? We are very spoiled with our immediate access to people, and there's just something to consider when we have volatile energy, when you think about these waves of communication that could be disrupted by something that's going on with the earth, that you just want to be prepared for. I'm not trying to be a doomsayer, because that's not who I am, but I am just telling you realistically, there's likely something going on, whether it's a few days before or after. This is definitely something that is possible anytime in this entire week. So just again, be cautious, be careful, and practice grounding yourself. When things get a little wild and crazy in the energy, it's important that you do things like grounding, literally walking out and putting your feet in the ground if it's not covered with snow and freezing. And if it is, then it's more about doing visualization exercises where you close your eyes and imagine yourself being rooted and grounded. Doing yoga poses like the tree pose, right? There's all things that we can do to help ground our energy. And if you're feeling kind of wild and out of control because of the chaos that's going on around you, these, again, good time to start doing these things now so that you're kind of comfortable with the routine and the process, and setting that intention that I am grounded every day to help you move through this energy. Okay, so that's a pretty impactful event. Now, normally when I'm talking about new moons, we will come together and create those 10 new moon intentions. But an eclipse isn't a time for setting the intention for the new beginning. It's the time for releasing, eclipsing out, right? Anything that's in the way of the life you want for yourself going forward. And so this is a great time for any kind of subconscious beliefs that hold you back, family history that you buy into that holds you back. What is the thing that occupies this area of your life, your chart, that if it was gone, things would be better? And I'm talking about emotional types of things, ego, attachments. Those are the types of things that we may have to release. And then once we do that, then the new opportunity comes in. So if you're going to work on anything as far as intentions go, work on what you want based on where this 28 degrees happens in your chart to let go of and release effortlessly, easily. Make sure you always make this easy on yourself. Otherwise, the universe goes, oh, yes, let me work on that for you. That's not what I meant. Yeah, the universe doesn't hear things like I don't want and not this and not that. All they hear is the thing. And then energy works to bring it to you. So be very careful with what you want to get eclipsed out that you own completely. Okay. I think that is all of the pieces that I want to cover in preparation for talking about the big changes that are coming your way. So we're going to break it down by sign. Now, as I mentioned, the chart in front of you is a Placidus chart. Whole sign houses are created so that you see only one sign in the chart per house. I have a very difficult time with that, but that's a whole nother story. But it works great for forecasting. And so that is what we're going to look at. And it's the only way to do a general forecast without trying to do early Capricorn, middle Capricorn, late Capricorn. Like I said, that's why you want to book a personal reading with me so that we can look at your specific chart and your personal planets and see what's going on. You can even look at your solar return chart for the year. There's so many components, but for now, we're just going to look at it from a whole sign house perspective. And because it happens so late in the degrees of Aquarius, you might want to listen to the sign after yours, because that actually might be the house where this is showing up for you. But again, create your own chart. Go to something like astro.com. You just need your birth date, your birthplace, of course, and the time. And then that way you'll know what your chart should look like. And like I said, where this is showing up for you. So all of that to say, let's get started with the sign of Aries. So Aries, this is a huge year for you. You are, especially very early born Aries, about to have your whole life changed in some way because of the fact that you have Saturn and Neptune coming together. This is a reset moment. 0 is the reset. It's what's possible. This energy for you from the Aquarius perspective is happening back here in your 11th house. So how do I know that? Because if Aries is your first house, Pisces is your 12th house, then Aquarius is your 11th house. So from the 11th house perspective, this is shocking events that involve your network, which can be your friends. They can be work friends. They can be close friends. However you define friends, this area of your life is going to have a shakeup. Now, it can also be, I like to call this your fairy godparent energy. So this could be a shocking surprise where somebody out there gifts you with something that, again, could change your whole life. So in order to have new beginnings in your friendships, there's something that you have to get out of the way. So you maybe have been in a very long fight with a friend. Well, this would be the time where you guys finally figure out how to work through it, for instance. But the challenge comes to you from the second house with this Uranus energy. So this kind of matches some of the work that we talked about earlier, because if it's your friend group from work where there's a huge shakeup and surprise, that shakeup and surprise affects the money that you make, because Uranus is in your second house of the money that you make. So when you have Uranus in here, where it's been for a while, and it's being activated as it's getting ready to finish its time here, it'll stay here only until April and then finally be done with the work that we've been doing ever since lovely Taurus energy has been going a little wacky and crazy here with Uranus. It'll move into the sign of Gemini. So there is something about that work that you understand and realize at this point. And there's this conflict between the money you make, what you put value in, and this friend group. They just don't align any further. And so whether it's a friend, like I said, that makes you an offer that causes you to leave work, or you're unhappy at work and then your friends don't like it because you're moving on, but there's something that will happen at the time of this eclipse that does affect the work you do, the money you make, and the friend group that you're a part of. And so there's changes coming. It's good to be prepared for any financial changes that could surprise you. Now, people always say, is it a good change? Is it a bad change? It's just change. And that means there's something you have to adapt to that could affect the money you make. Now, the second house is also about our self-worth, the things that we, value, ruled by Venus. Venus is talking to the North Node and the South Node. So this event is fated. You don't have any control over it except for how you react to it. So remember, ground yourself, Aries, and get ready for some pretty big changes. And remember, what fated changes happen because we're ready for a next step. We're stuck, we're stagnant somewhere, and this big opportunity is going to show up to help move us forward. All right, Aries. Love to hear how this is going to show up for you, so let me know in the comments later. Then, speaking of Taurus, this happens for you in your 10th house of career. It's also your fame, your notoriety, what you're most known for. So if you're not working, maybe you have an important marriage partner. Maybe you're big in the volunteer community. There's something that has to do with your image to the public that is going to go through a big change. So, again, there is a potential for your career to suddenly change direction because of the energy here at this new moon solar eclipse. Now, it could change the company you work for. It could change the people within the organization that you work for, that then creates a new opportunity for you, but it will come as a surprise. Whatever the change is, it will come as some big shock and surprise. More shocking if you happen to have, like I said, personal planet or your midheaven happens to be at 28 degrees of Aquarius, then this is likely a direct impact to you. So then we say, okay, well, that means Uranus, of course, in the sign of Taurus is in my first house. So I'm the problem. It's me. I love that song. Sing it all the time. Anyway, so you're the one likely making a dramatic change as far as your status goes, your career. You're the one who's instigating the change when Uranus is in your first house. Now, of course, this means more to those of you who have late degree Taurus energy and the late degree from your midheaven's perspective. You're going to shock people at how you suddenly change direction in the work that you are doing. So this would be, for instance, somebody who says, I'm done with a leadership role. I'm done with this big money job. And now I'm going out to work for a volunteer community, or I make half of what I made before. But the work matters so much to me that I'm willing to walk away from everything that I've built for myself because it is not fulfilling to me any further. Some will walk away from marriages for the same reason, because they are no longer connected to their partner. So big changes and good news, Taurus. Uranus is almost done remodeling you. So you can look forward to that. And then you can hand it off to the Geminis and say, enjoy. Yeah, enjoy that energy. Good news is Uranus is an air type of sign since it rules Aquarius. So the Gemini transition will be a little wild, a little crazy, but Geminis love that. So on to, speaking of the sign of Geminis. So Gemini, this is your ninth house and your 12th house that we are talking about. So a new beginning in your ninth house. This house about growth, personal growth, and expansion in what you're here to do, right? This is a very spiritual house. Jupiter rules this, a benefic planet. So this is good opportunities coming your way. Now, some of those could have to do with foreign countries, foreign people, maybe studying a foreign language, maybe studying something spiritual in nature becomes important to you at this time. And then what's been blocking you from doing that? So let's say you've been wanting to go back to school and get your MBA or a doctorate. Like this is higher levels of education that we're exploring at this time. In order to do that, something else has to shift and change for you. Well, that Taurus energy for you, it falls in your 12th house. So where it's been stirring up all the fears that you have in that 12th house, all those ways of thinking that hold you back and keep you stuck. And 12th house also has to do with large organizations. So there could be a big shake up within your organization. It could be a financial shake up within your organization that creates a new opportunity for you. So you would say, oh my God, my company's gone under. As a result, I can kind of do what I want. And you may say, I'm finally just going to let myself go back to school. Or I'm going to go travel the world for a year because this shakeup at the organization gave me this great package and I'm not going to make any decisions yet. I'm just going to go travel the world, right? Shocks everybody that this is happening to you. And even more shocking is your willingness to just walk away and go explore the world and see what it has to offer you. So the ninth house is big, right? No more playing small, which is a very Gemini thing to do. This is a great opportunity as long as you're comfortable with big, shocking changes that could happen in this area of your life. Now, subconscious things also with 12th house, it's that Pisces energy. So a big, shocking ending of some sort. Something that you thought you really valued and you were aligned with is, suddenly no more. That's the kind of energy that is showing up. So again, all of these things that are happening for us now, they're faded, right? So that's not subtle, these changes. So get ready to break free and go explore and go adventure like you've never adventured before, Geminis. Next, we have Cancers. Cancer, this is your 8th house that's activated by this eclipse energy. So the 8th house, of course, is a house of death, rebirth, transformation. This is the value that we get from other people. So it can be money that we get through investments, through loans, through bonuses. And because it's at this eclipse and it's Aquarian energy that is activated, this could be money that comes to you unexpectedly from a friend or a mentor or a group that suddenly wants to invest in you. and help you start something new, which would be completely different from what you've been doing so far. And so, of course, you like your nice little cozy home where you're safe and protected. And this is going to shock you off of your foundation. And it's very challenging to you. And of course, you've already had Jupiter in your sign for almost a year now. So you've been going through a lot of challenges of faith, of opportunities that have pushed you to grow in some way. And all of that energy between, remember, Jupiter and Mercury, this is lighting you up right now, but in a good way. A trine is a very positive opportunity that comes to you, but you have to take advantage of it. You have to do something with it. And so, where's the rub? Where's the challenge? Well, the challenge comes from your friend group. It's your 11th house where Uranus sits. So again, sometimes when we have close friend groups, even work friends, when we get a new opportunity that separates us from our friends, they don't like it, right? They see you as trying to step above them, and that can be uncomfortable for some of the people in your friend group. Now, there can be something that happens with a friend that for some reason, changes the entire dynamic about your life. This is a friend that whatever happens to them impacts you in a way where you change everything. So whatever happens to them causes you to kind of awaken and realize that life's too short. And as a result of what they're going through, you may want to change everything in your life. Because, right, 8th house means this is a huge change, completely different. We're burning something down to the ground in order to start over. Now, the 8th house also rules our intimate relationships. So, there can be a challenge in your relationship due to your friends who maybe are having some intervention with you because of the fact that you're in a very unhealthy, toxic relationship, and they just can't support you anymore doing that to yourself, which of course would cause friction. But the call to Jesus moment is needed. And again, then you may end this relationship. And then, of course, that opens a whole new chapter in life for you. So something big, whether it's an intimate relationship, money that you get from other people, is going to happen now that could completely change your life, Cancers. So let me know what's showing up for you, but it's definitely something big, especially if you're a late degree Cancer. Then this is a change like you've never seen in your life. Even though we had these similar eclipses back in 2007, we didn't have Saturn and Neptune creating this whole new world at the same time. So while there can be some similarities, I think they're minimal. I think this is completely uncharted territory. And since it's 8th house, it's big work for you Cancers. All right. Then we move ahead to Leos. So Leo, this is your 7th house. Oh boy. So all kinds of changes coming to you because of the serious relationships that you're a part of. This can be very close friends. This can be business partners. This can be a marriage partner, of course, whatever committed relationship that you are in order for it to go to the next level, something has to go. Something that is holding this relationship back, especially, of course, for you late degree Leos, is going to have to be cleared away in order for this opportunity to show up for you. So if you're in an unhealthy relationship, it will have to end in order for the relationship that's meant for you to come in for instance. Same thing if you don't have the right business partner, what close friends, anything that you're a part of where you actually don't feel aligned or connected, then those situations will likely dissolve and something better will come in to replace it. So what's the challenge in the relationships? Where is that coming from? Of course, it's coming from this Uranus energy here in the sign of Taurus, which happens to be in your career sector. So you are another sign where some kind of big change and shakeup at work is going to cause a change or an opportunity for change in your career. And whatever that is somehow challenges or threatens your marriage partner, for instance. So maybe you've always been kind of on an even keel as far as your career goes, and suddenly you're skyrocketing above because of this opportunity and they're feeling, held back or left behind. But you have to do what's best for you. That's what the Saturn Neptune energy in the sign of Aries is about for all of these signs, is I'm choosing what's best for me. Not in a selfish way, right? Not at the expense of other people, but I can't be a people pleaser anymore, right? That's the Libra energy. Aries is saying, if I take care of myself, I'll actually end up being a better partner for these people, whether it's a marriage partner or a business partner or friends, right? I have to start doing what makes me happy. And when I'm happy, I actually will treat the people around me better. So this big shakeup within your company, within your career, is going to cause you to change something in your life that then also causes something in your relationships to change. So it's a significant new opportunity for a commitment of some kind, but you're going to have to let go of something else in order to do this. So maybe you're in a relationship and very much in love, and it's been long distance, and now they're asking you to finally come and live with them and move in. And that means you got to let go of the work that you do, that you also love. And so it feels very challenging to make this choice. But this is fate. So if fate is asking you to do the work right now, then it's time to do the work and stop playing it safe and take some risks. Ooh, excited, Leos. Let me know. All right, then we move on to Virgos. Virgos, this is your 6th house. So this is a house that has to do with health, which is, of course, a Virgo topic. It has to do with things that are part of your day-to-day life, your routines. Work is a big part of this. It could be your pets that are a big part of this energy as well. And of course, you still have that South Node moving through your sign. And those 8-degree Virgo energies are going to feel this work specifically because of, like I said, this Venus contact, Venus the ruler of this Uranus surprise. Whatever's going on, this is fate stepping in for you. So when we have a shocking, surprising new beginning in the 6th house, we are learning information that changes our day-to-day life. So it can be your job, it can be your health. But the good news is if there's health concerns at this time, the eclipse is going to help you eclipse out whatever's been hidden from you so that it can be resolved. So don't fear anything that comes up as far as your health goes right now. You're just learning what you need to learn so that it can be dealt with and resolved instead of remaining hidden and getting worse. Now, the same thing could be true of your work, right? If you're in a toxic work environment and it's affecting your health, then better or worse, that job has got to go because it's going to impact your health. And that isn't going to continue to work for you. You're going to finally decide your health matters more to you than the paycheck. And it's better to do something that maybe you have to tighten the belt a little bit more and be better as far as your budget goes. than continue to stay somewhere that's unhealthy for you in some way. And South Node Virgos, there's just a lot of things that you're continuing to have to purge and let go of. And that's a really good time right now to keep doing that work, keep letting things go, organizing your space around you, getting rid of clutter. All of those things will make the transition easier for you. Now, the shocking surprise energy with that Uranus influence happens in your 9th house. So there is a challenge as far as your work goes that comes from maybe not having the degree, and you get passed over for a job because somebody else has that degree, and they, just because they have it, even though they don't have the work experience, they're getting chosen. And that wakes you up in a way that's not necessarily a bad thing. Now, some of you may feel called, 9th house, to go back to school or to go to school for something completely different than the industry that you work in now. And again, that's going to challenge you to walk away from what you're doing, what you're comfortable doing, what you have all this wonderful control over, and take a risk and get outside your comfort zone and learn and grow in unexpected ways that, when you do it, will eventually have, big financial payout for you as well. But there's change coming in your day-to-day life. Something's leaving, Virgos, and you're going to have to let it go. It's finally time. You can't keep hanging on to this. You are going to have to let it go. Oh, it's going to be so much challenge for you, Virgos, but you're ready. You've been doing the work. You've been warming up for over a year now. You're ready. Let this go. And then we move on into Libras. So Libra, this is a new shocking beginning in your 5th house that rules your children. It could rule a romantic partner. It could anything to do with your heart, your hobbies, all fall into this category. So in order for something new to happen that speaks to your heart, there's something that you need to realize, something that you may need to let go, let be eclipsed out so that you can start over fresh and new. So maybe let's go with the relationship angle. You have been in a people-pleasing romance for a long time, and now, as a result of this eclipse, there's going to be a big change in the dynamics of your relationship so that your heart is able to be opened at this time. So if you've been kind of one foot in, one foot out kind of thing in this relationship, well, something will happen now that causes you to commit either one way or the other, but you can't keep straddling the line at this time. You have to pick, again, your heart. What matters to you going forward is that your heart is full, that your heart is alive, that your heart is open and feels safe. And whatever you're a part of that doesn't feel that way, it will need to leave. So what challenges your heart? It's the 8th house. So again, let's stick with the relationship. So this is about intimacy and being comfortable with exposing yourself completely emotionally to somebody else in a way that feels safe. Now, there's a difference between being an oversharer and playing the victim versus having a close, intimate connection with someone else. And it's that's challenging you. So your partner is saying, I need more of you. No more playing it safe. And that is scaring you at your heart level, right? This square between the 5th and the 8th house challenges your sense of safety and the control that you have over your heart center. So some of you are going to go through a huge change and transformation because of the person that you're in a relationship with right now that wants more. And then some of you are going to go through a big change because of some financial disruption that maybe pushes you to take a hobby that you've kind of dabbled in to something more serious because you need the income. But trust the process. Whatever's going on now, it's fated. And if you're meant to explore your hobby more, things are going to be moved out of the way or shock and surprise you so that you are driven in that direction somehow. And then we have Scorpios. So Scorpios, this is happening in your 4th house of home and family. So there can be big, shocking surprises and changes at home. Now, they could involve your mother. They could involve your ancestors. They could involve your actual home. So you are somebody that if you want to give this energy a good positive outlet, you want to clean, you want to purge, you want to reorganize your home. And it's a good time to move the energy in the home by literally moving furniture, get your feng shui bagua map out, make sure you have the right colors in each room. This, like I said, is a big time for change and transformation at home. Now, this also could be something that could cause you to move, cause you to change homes. And if you really love where you live, like I said, give the energy another escape by changing things around in your own home. Now, this also could be big changes to your own physical body, right? This is your soul's home. And so this could be a big opportunity for you to go big and commit to getting healthy. For instance, letting go of fear so that you are comfortable with yourself, with your own body at this time. Now, the challenge comes from the 7th house of serious relationships and marriage partners. So let's say on a positive aspect, you're getting married. You're getting in a committed, serious relationship. And that's going to change the dynamics at home because this person is going to come live with you. I know. Oh my gosh. And as they do come live with you, Scorpios, everything changes, right? You like the power that you have. You like your little cave where you can go escape and be alone in the dark. But this disruption that happens at home is because of a change in your relationship. Now, for some, it's, a marriage partner that's moving out, and that's going to disrupt the home. You might be the person moving out because the marriage no longer suits you. And that, again, disrupts everything at home. So something's changing at home for you, Scorpios. It's a result of something shocking and surprising going on in your relationships. But trust the process. And as you move through this, remember, the new beginning affects your home and you will feel more connected to the community that you're a part of where you live. So it could be a revigoration of your current community or a new one where you feel more a part and accepted because of this big move. Then we have the Sagittarius energy. So Sagittarius, this is happening in your 3rd house. The 3rd house can do with your siblings. It could be a change in the community that you are a part of. It also could be an opportunity to learn something new. That's the 3rd house, learning new things, brand new to you. Versus the 9th house where you learn something that you take to the next level, which is you, Sagittarius energy. So this can feel a little challenging, right? You have to let go of the big picture and focus in on some new information and become the expert in it, which can be challenging. Now, on like a really mundane level, well, this might be time for you to get a new car. And unfortunately, that would mean because the one that you currently have is going to have a little bit of a boo-boo and be eclipsed out. So again, really good time to be driving very carefully, protecting your electronics so that you don't have to end up getting a new phone, a new computer. Any of those things are possible at this time as well. So where do we get clues for what that would be? Well, it happens in your sixth house of the work that you do. So back to that, having to learn something new, something's changing in the work that you do, and it's causing you to have to learn a new skill when you don't like being the person that doesn't know everything. So that's why this can feel so challenging for you at this time. So yeah, you're not going to learn it unless you're forced into doing it. But once you do learn it, of course, then you become an expert at it. And that could create a change, of course, in the type of work that you do. And at the end of the day, you end up really enjoying it. So open your mind. That's my best advice for you, Sagittarius, and get ready to learn something new, unexpected, that can end up shaking up your whole day-to-day life. And that can be a good thing. Then we are back to Capricorns, which of course I've been playing with as we talked earlier. And this is the second house. So this is a shakeup in the second house of the money that you make. So that typically does impact the work that you do. So somebody's leaving, you could be leaving, and that impacts the money that you make, obviously, because either a new opportunity shows up that you get to step into, the opportunity that you're a part of ends, and then that forces you into a new opportunity. But again, trust the process. This is fate. So whatever you are being pushed to do at this time, it's supposed to happen. So you're a Capricorn. You're always going to land on your feet as far as finances go. So we're not particularly worried about you. I think you'll see this new opportunity for what it is. But the challenge comes to you from your fifth house, where you have that Uranus energy of surprises. So it could be either a child or a romantic partner that is somehow challenging your ability to take this new opportunity. Maybe there's a need to adjust your schedule. Maybe it's a need to adjust how much time you make yourself available to either one of them, or a child, romantic partner, your hobby maybe is requiring more of your time. And that, again, is challenging you in the work that you do, where you may have to come and decide which one matters more, this work or this thing that you actually love, because they're not getting along anymore. You're not able to continue to juggle and balance these two areas of your life as easily as you have in the past. And so there's decisions to make that likely mean you're going to have some new income going forward. And then, oh boy, Aquarius, this of course is happening for you in your first house, especially if you're later degree, 20 degree Aquarius. This is, a complete change for you. And of course, there's something of yourself that you're letting go and you're releasing in order for this new beginning to happen. And it's a new beginning that, connects you with groups of people. And in order to appreciate this new connection, you're going to have to let go of an old one. And that old connection could be, removed and taken away, which is very disruptive to you. But then the new opportunity that comes in is something that will end up being much more fulfilling for you. Chances are the change happens because of somebody in the family that does something shocking that surprises you. It could have a financial impact that, again, could affect where you live or who you live with. And that that is something that you're just not willing to settle for anymore. There could be, in a positive way, right? Money that comes to you from a family member that then allows you to start this whole new life for yourself, right? This is first house. This is the self. This is how other people see you, how you show yourself to the world. So there's some of you that might be choosing to want to change their appearance. And I'm just going to tell you, if you try to do it during an eclipse, it's not going to go as you expect, especially with all of this Mercury retrograde energy. So if you can, work on a personal makeover that is about you taking control over your appearance, like a new health routine, versus trying to do anything medically. I don't recommend it at this time. I would wait till after the March new moon, because it will not go as you expect. Now, there's some things you can do that like are eclipsing something out that's unhealthy for you, but just trying to do cosmetic things right now, I do not recommend at all. Because the fourth house, remember, it's also your physical body that could be shocking and surprising you if this isn't about home or a family member or money that you're inheriting suddenly that then says, oh, I'm going to do this great transformation. Wait on that until after March for sure. But you, Aquarius, is late degree. You may not even know yourself. And the people who know you best are suddenly going to see you in a completely different light because of the impact of this event. And then keep in mind, you're about to go through some big changes. Not that you aren't already with Pluto entering your sign, but those are on the psychological level. Once we have the nodes moving into your sign this summer, that's when you're going to grow in ways you never would have expected. And it's definitely a time where you're finding your tribe, where you fit in, where you belong, and, moving away from things that don't align with you, that you don't love, that you're not passionate about anymore. So this is the beginning of your big transformation that's literally going to take effect over the next 2 years. And here's where it all began. You will look back on this time in the future and go, wow, February 2026, that's where I had this idea, and I can't believe where it's taken me 2 years down the road. So it is going to be an amazing change and transformation for you, Aquarius. And last, never least, we have you little lovely Pisces. So an eclipse in your 12th house, that can be a tough location, much like the 8th house, because it's things that are lost, things that are hidden from us that we don't even realize have been hidden from us that suddenly get exposed. So we have to face our fears. We have to deal with our doubts. We have to give up control, which you've been learning through this North Node, South Node work. So this is a very intense time for you. And 12th house is large institutions. It can be hospitals. So there's something going on beneath the surface for you, Pisces, which of course you are a 12th house energy. So it doesn't feel completely foreign to you. But whatever this thing is that's been hidden, that you've been trying to resolve or solve, you're going to finally get answers, which is good, but it's going to challenge you in such a way as like everything that you thought you knew was almost a lie in some way, because of the fact that Uranus energy in your 3rd house of communication, of learning, of travel is being activated. Now, because the 3rd house rules travel, because the 12th house rules hospitals, you are another sign where I'm going to tell you, you need to be very careful in your travels. So hands-free, phone down, stay very aware. A defensive driver is very important for you at this time. Now, third house is also communication that comes to you about money. And maybe somebody in your life has been hiding money from you and you become shocked and surprised. Maybe the surprise is a good surprise and maybe the surprise is not such a good surprise. But it's whatever you're learning at this time, even though it's shocking, even though it's surprising, it's what awakens you fully. And those blocks to your gifts, your connection to spirit, your faith is fully awakened and alive now. So get ready, because once you release this, once your mind is completely opened and free, then you can really start living. And of course, that North Node is going to finish its time with you soon. But this Mercury retrograde work it's the last piece of the building blocks for you, Pisces, where it all comes together full circle. So this, like I said, this is just a kicking off point. And for you, the last of this really big work that you have to do, where you let go of control and you're just living fully in faith, it's going to test you. But you're ready. You are ready. All right. Phew. Okay. The work I said earlier, it can be a multitude of things because it really depends on what personal planets are being impacted. So take a look at your chart. What do you have at 28 degrees? Where do you have it if it's not in Aquarius? How is it being aspected by this event? Because the aspect, like the square to Uranus, tells you if it's a difficult change or a comfortable change. And where's the change showing up? There's so much to cover. So like I said, it's a great time to book a session with an astrologer, even if it's not me, to help you navigate through this energy. And as I've mentioned before, eclipses come back about every 19 years, but of course, all the energy isn't the same. The big difference this time to the one we had in 2007, of course, is the fact that we have Saturn with Neptune. We have Mercury pre-shadow of a retrograde. We have all of these other influences. So there may be something similar, and it may not feel like anything that you went through in 2007. But there's some little seed there, some part of your life that's coming up for a big change again that may have also gone through a change in 2007, but this change is bigger. It's even more personal than the eclipses that we saw from 2007 or 19 years before that. So I hope this is helpful. Most importantly, just be open, be flexible, and be prepared for change. Don't try to stay stuck. If you try to stay stuck when everything is pointing you in a new direction, it will become overwhelming and you will be miserable because then you're stuck for 19 more years. You don't want that. So stop making excuses for other people. This is about choosing yourself. So choose wisely and break free from something that's been holding you back for far too long now. And get ready for some big dramatic surprises and keep me posted in the comments about what's showing up for you. Okay, and then our next video, I am going to give you a breakdown of this new opportunity between Saturn and Neptune for your sign, this complete reset moment. So you'll want to tune in for that. So again, please like, please comment, please share. The algorithm is not kind to us little small channels, which I get. But word of mouth is how I get all of my clients. I love that you give me referrals and I love meeting new people, but I like the personal connection that I get from those types of referrals. So I really appreciate that. And again, your likes, your comments, your shares, that helps me reach new people. And going out to my website, read already the 2026 article, which I will put the link down below for you as well, to start to understand this huge undertaking about putting yourself first that we are going to start to experience with this Saturn and Neptune storyline. Now, keep in mind, they're going to meet on Friday. And then Neptune's very slowly moves forward, right? 14 years of time here. But Saturn will move ahead, pretty quick. And then it'll go retrograde. So it's going to show you a plan. And once that planet goes retrograde later this year, you're going to have to start working on it. So this is an educational time where we are just beginning to understand what's possible for us for the next 3 years with Saturn's help. And remember, Saturn comes back every 29 years. So it was that 94, 96 window that we last experienced this energy within this Pisces Aries window. And then 97. And then we're starting to see what was coming as far as the Aries energy goes. So think back on those years, if you're old enough, and what was showing up for you to, again, get an idea. Maybe I'll choose differently this time so things work out in my favor. All right. Let me know. Hopefully this was helpful. I am excited to see the opportunities that are about to unfold for us and for all of you. And like I said, I'm here to help. So get those sessions booked right away so that I can make time for you on my calendar. All right. And I'll talk to you in a few days about that Saturn and Neptune reset that's coming up. Take care.